what that process was, okay? So that's kind of what standardized work is. And really, it's the baseline for what you do and how you do your work.
More of a framework.
More of a framework, absolutely. Okay? So, how many know what Kaizen is again? Kaizen, Japanese word for continuous improvement. If you're an Agilist, you'll say, I already have continuous improvement. I do retrospectives every 2 weeks. That's great for that team. How do I take and frame what I'm doing with all these teams so that they can have continuous improvement on the overall standard work, right? That's really what we do with continuous improvement, the model of A3s. If you're familiar with A3s, it's the size of a paper, or a very large paper. They do 5 whys, all those concepts they do in order to do continuous improvement to our standard work. So if a team has a really good idea on how to change or how to get better, they're empowered to create an A3, which eventually changes our standard work, okay? And then we have processes for how we're going to distribute that across all teams, okay? So the development system's one side, the management system's another side. If you don't change the way your managers are doing their work, this will not be successful, without a doubt. I think one of the quotes up here is really around discipline. A lot of people don't believe Agile is very disciplined. We discovered when we did our CMMI assessment that actually it's more disciplined than we thought. We have embedded more discipline into the process of Agile than we think. And we require our associates who are doing Agile to be disciplined, to show up for daily stand-ups, right? Be there. We only need you for 15 minutes. Show up. What are you going to do? What did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? And what blockers do you have, right? That's pretty disciplined. On the management side, we didn't have that. We didn't have discipline like that. We don't have standard work, okay? Does anybody know exactly what a manager has to do? Is it written down? Do we have improvements that we can do for that? No, we don't have that. So one of the things is, if you don't change the way your management is working, then basically the other side is going to say, why are you making me adhere to these processes when you don't? So the house falls down, is basically what we're trying to say. Leader standardized work is really around results, or not results, process focus, not results focus. A lot of times we promote people who can do the cowboy coding and just get the results. That's great, but we have to foundationally look at the process because we want to repeat, right, and reuse. If we're not focused on that, we're not going to be successful. This is an example of our standard work for management. Notice we talk about team leaders, we talk about directors, we also talk about executives. Some of the concepts that are pretty interesting, how many have heard of Gembas? Gembas are Japanese terms for go where the work is. How many of you are managers or leaders or executives? How many times have you gone and actually looked at an Agile whitboard? How often do you do it?
A couple times a week.
A couple times a week? That's a Gemba walk. When you're actually going to see how the work is doing, and it's not because there's a status meeting, you're going and actually doing Gemba walks. The Japanese, or the Toyota Production Management System, really talks about that as a way to manage the teams. Go to them and see what's going on. That's important because we want that in our standard work. Okay? We also do daily stand-ups. Oh, go ahead.
Back on the right-hand side there, are you having daily, how often the stand-ups do you do at the director and executive level?
We do them every day except Friday. Friday's golf day. 15 minutes, we're doing stand-ups every day. We actually have a Kanban board for all of our initiatives that's going on at the management level. We're currently working on trying to figure out how to roll up status and metrics in order to make it big visible within our room. We actually have what we call a Gemba room that is dedicated, an open room that is dedicated to leaders for all the information from all the lines. We're currently working on how to make that really efficient right now. But we do stand-ups every day except Friday. Does that answer?
Sure. Is that a daily stand-up meeting?
Yep, daily stand-up, 10 o'clock.
You also have a separate executive?
Yes. Here's kind of an example of it. We start at the team. We have daily stand-ups. They do Friday stand-ups, right? We do ADLs as our leaders, our directors, and we do executives, okay? And again, our focus is on visual management, right? It's not about we're getting a report that was produced 2 weeks ago. We want to see real-time data. We want to see roll-up data that's real-time. So that's one of the interesting things about this room is how to make it real-time. Because really, Lean is about real-time management. It's not about status reports. You go where the work is. So if we can't find it in the room, in fact, we'd like the room to be indicators, and then if you need to drill down for more information, you go to the room, and you talk to them about what's going on. Go ahead.
Are you looking at tools?
Are we looking at tools? We believe that tools are not value add. We would rather it be low tech. So just like you put a card on the wall, instead of having a cool, slick tool, we start with low tech. And one of the reasons why I like to do it that way is because I can change it if it doesn't work. Most systems are too rigid to change. I can change it in a heartbeat. So that's one of the things that we believe in. We try to do low tech. I'll show you some pictures at the end of some of the things we do. But if you'll notice, it's basically whiteboards and cards. And we try to do as much low tech as possible. Now, when it comes to measures and metrics, some of the things we're doing there, we have to use some technology.
And no team distribution?
Team distribution.
Distributed teams?
We do have distributed teams. We do leverage technology for that, if we have to. Reality is, if we have a team, we have 2 teams in Des Moines, Iowa. We leverage a lot of video conferencing. We actually have video conferencing units on rollers that we roll around. We do that.
Do you do that for offshore also?
We are not offshore yet. Not offshore yet.
Dustin, you might address this later, but in your stories that you're mentioning, what all do you capture, like acceptance criteria, sizing? Are you going to touch base on that?
I'm not really going to touch a lot on that, but I can kind of answer that. So all of our stories have acceptance criteria with them. We estimate every story that we do. We do velocity. We do all of that. So does that kind of answer your question? Cool.
Who is your iteration manager? I mean, how often,
Say it again.
How often do you size your stories or do your iteration planning?
So we do iteration planning every 2 weeks. Our iterations are 2 weeks. We do iteration planning every 2 weeks. We do estimation sessions every 2 weeks.
With the same team?
With the team. Whole team. Whole team does estimation sessions. That's how you get value add out of estimation. Does that help? Okay, so our lean house, agile practices, right? What does it look like? This is our ADC franchise model, or what we would like to say is our standard work. Okay? This is what we put together to govern our agile teams. What you see in yellow is literally our agile practices. It's how we do development. What you see in green is really our support processes. So you'll see things like Kaizen, process management, or continuous improvement. Okay? You'll see on the sides our tools. You'll see what we call teaching hospital, which is our learning area within the organization. So fundamentally, this is how we manage our teams. And these are our standards. Now, what's interesting is, how do I know I'm any good? So I spent a whole lot of time doing Agile, right? Years perfecting that trait. I've now wrapped it in Lean. How do I know I'm any good? How many of you know what CMMI stands for? Go ahead.
Capability maturity model.
What's the I stand for?
I don't know.
Integrated.
Integrated? Close. Integration. Capability maturity model integration. It is an industry best practice. It is founded by, well, you can't really see this here. It's founded by and governed by the Software Engineering Institute out of Carnegie Mellon. It is leveraged by the DoD. If you want to do DoD work, you need to be CMMI level something, okay? And if you want the really lucrative stuff, you better be level 5, okay? So we did all of this work. At some point in time, someone asked us, yeah, so what? How do you know you're any good? We had to benchmark ourselves, and that's where CMMI came in. We chose CMMI because it was recognized in the industry. We also recognized that CMMI was based off a waterfall perspective. So if anybody knows anything about CMMI, it was built back in, what, the 80s, late 80s? It's very waterfallish, okay? So our executives said, yeah, but are you really CMMI compliant? Are you as good as the best practices of CMMI? So that was our challenge. We actually had a burning platform. We wanted to be CMMI level 3 within 9 months. They gave us the entire year of 2010, and when I say entire year, by the time they give us the money and we start going, it's really 9 months. Okay? And one of the things about CMMI is it's not just about software development. It's organizational processes too. So it's around training. How do you train your people? It's very big, okay? So there are actually I'll go to the next one. There are 5 levels of CMMI. Our target was the 3rd. And the 3rd really included every practice that CMMI has. The only thing, when you go above 3, you get more into prediction of weaknesses. You get into measures and metrics. While they're still there in level 3, you're using measures and metrics to change or predict the future. It's pretty complex. So what we were concerned about was every practice or standard that we put together from an Agile, lean perspective, did it measure up to CMMI level 3? Okay? So we did it. 9 months. Success. CMMI level 3. 0 weaknesses. And we believe there was only one other company that's ever done this. We were among the first. And actually, the CMMI latest version has Agile practices now. A huge win. So we actually took Agile practices, lean techniques, lean framework, and got it benchmarked and approved by CMMI level 3. And approved by a lead assessor, an external lead assessor who was certified to do this. One of the key things that he mentioned, the 0 weaknesses is extremely important. In his 19 years, he'd never seen a company or an organization achieve any level of CMMI with 0 weaknesses. And a weakness is really, it's not that you're not doing it, it's that there's opportunity to improve. So when we were done, he didn't have anything for us to improve at that point in time, based on the best practices in the industry. Pretty cool. So how did we do it? Well, I've been asked this a lot. How did we do it? I like the picture. You have to eat your own dog food. So how many have initiatives in your organization that are not software development that you manage, right? Say like you have a project or an initiative that you're trying to run, you're trying to do, but you're not really building software, you're just trying to change some stuff. You have those kind of projects? Question is, how do you run them? We ran our CMMI initiative as though it was an Agile project, okay? We did daily stand-ups, we did show and tells, we did iterations, we did releases. We did all of that. We actually had a whip board, and we called it our war room, but it was all big visibles. We had stats, we had whip boards that we used, we had cards, all of that, okay? It's extremely important. And one of the things about achieving CMMI is that it's not about how good your processes are, it's how good your teams follow the processes. So one of the things that really scared us was I could write down the process, right?